Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. It is me, SB. I am so glad that you are back. So this is part 2 of our little strawberry. And we are going to be working on the top part of our little strawberry, which is the leaf, or the leaves. What is it called? Oh gosh. The calyx, as it's the technical term. And we're going to be working on this today. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so if you have not seen my first video where we make this strawberry, which is the receptacle of our strawberry, I will leave a link for you up here and also in the description box down below, so that way you can go check that out if you want to make the full strawberry. Okay, so for the materials that you're going to need to make the calyx, or the leaves and the stem, we are going to use green, and any green color will do. The green that I am using today is called sea green, and it is by Premier, and it is called Afternoon Cotton, and it is a size 3 yarn. So like I said in the previous video, you do not have to use the exact yarn that I am using today. This is just what I am using. You're also going to need your crochet hook, and I am using a 3mm crochet hook, and just use what is comfortable for you. I like to go about 2 or 3 sizes down whenever I am making amigurumi. So keep that in mind if you are changing up the yarn. You're also going to need a stitch marker, tapestry needle, and also some scissors. So let's get into it. So we are not going to need our little receptacle just yet. So we can set this aside and let them hang out right here while we complete our leaves. So let's get our yarn ready. All right, so I realized in the first video that I forgot to put all of the instructions on the screen, and I really do apologize for that. I do have the written pattern available in my Ko-Fi shop, so if you want to check that out so you can follow along with the video. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start with the magic ring, or an adjustable ring, or a magic circle, and just work this in whatever method you are comfortable with. So I'm going to do the classic, which is my favorite, and it's just where you wrap your tail around your finger twice, place your hook through those 2 loops, yarn over, and you want to make sure that you have your yarn secured, pull through, and we're just going to pinch, pull off those loops off of your finger, and chain 1. So that chain 1 just basically locks everything into place. For our first round, we are going to place 6 single crochets. Now you have the option here to either work regular single crochets or crossed single crochets. And I'm going to choose to work the crossed single crochets because that's what our entire project has been made out of. And we are going to be working in spirals. So let's go ahead and place our 6 cross single crochets into our ring. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go ahead and place our stitch marker into our first stitch, because this first stitch likes to kind of get buried during our closing process. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that way we definitely will find that stitch. So let's go ahead and close our ring. Pull, find the one that closed. See, this method, a lot of people don't like doing it because you have to take this extra step. But personally, I think it is the most secured version. On to round two. Round two, we are going to increase every single stitch. And remember, we are working in spirals, so do not chain one, do not join with a slip stitch or anything of that nature. We are simply going to work directly into our first stitch. So we are going to increase all of our stitches. And we're going to do the crossed single crochet all the way around. Don't forget to mark your first stitch, and let's just work our increases into all of our stitches. So at the end of round two, you should have 12 crossed single crochets. All right, so that was the end of round two. So round three is where we're going to begin working our little leaves. And this is a fairly simple process. It looks a little complicated, so I'm going to give you a little look at what it looks like from the top. So as you can see, it does look a little complicated, but it is pretty simple. Round three, or the round where our leaves are, we are going to work one single crochet into the first stitch. So we're just going to work regular single crochets here, because just so we're not having to focus on multiple techniques. So I marked my first stitch. We are going to chain 4. And in the second chain from the hook, we are simply going to slip stitch into that chain. So we're going through the back of the chain. So hopefully you saw that. So if you're pretty new to crochet and you're still not real familiar with the anatomy of the chain has a front and a back. So the front is going to have kind of like a V look, and the back is just going to have a single loop. And this looks more like of what a chain looks like. So we're going to work into that back loop. So you're only going to have one loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through, and no pull through with the slip stitch, just simply pull all the way through. That was one. So we're going to work 2 more slip stitches down our chain. All right, so now we should be right back up to our little circle that we made. And once again, we are not working into our main body is what I'm going to call it. We are simply going to chain 4 once again. And we are just going to repeat what we just did. We're just going to slip stitch down our chain. So we're going to repeat once again. Once you're all the way down your chain, we're going to chain 4, slip stitch down your chain. 2 and 3. And for each of those, you should have a total of 3 slip stitches on your little leaves. So now we are going to work into the circle body of our little top leaf, our calyx. So we are going to place a 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. let's go ahead and go directly into the next stitch of where we just worked. So 1, get it, 2, and 3. So now we are just going to repeat this process. We are going to chain up 4, and slip stitch down, and I will meet you back at the end. You should have 2 single crochets left in your round, so I will be back to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to work our last leaf, and as you can see on the body here of our little leaf, we have 2 single crochets left. That is exactly what we need. So I'm just going to hurry up and hurry up. I'm just going to go ahead and complete this leaf. Okay, so now we are going to work our last 2 single crochets of the round. All right, and we're done. We're done with the leaf. Fun times. So at this point, what I want you to do is go ahead and slip stitch to the first stitch. And this is just going to finish off the top of our leaf really nice. And I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to go ahead and fasten off. We want to leave a decent sized tail. It doesn't have to be crazy long. So what I usually do is I just take my tail here and just kind of loop it around, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, and just cut it. And that should be more than enough thread so that way you can sew the top on. And now all we're going to do is pull through and tighten up that loop. So that's what your piece should look like. And optionally, you can go through and go ahead and weave in this loose end at the beginning, or if you were smarter than me, you weaved it in as you worked. But I'm just going to let mine hang out right there because, it's going to be sewn on and nobody's going to see it anyways. So let's set this aside for just a minute. We are going to get our green yarn once again, and we're going to make the top or the stalk of our strawberry. So let's go ahead and start with the loop version. So for this one, you're going to want to leave a tail, a decent sized tail. It doesn't have to be crazy long, just long enough that you can actually use it. And I'm just going to make a slip knot here. Oops. It'd be helpful if I did it correctly. Okay, so now we're simply going to chain up 10, and that's it. And then you fasten off. So typically what I like to do is to chain 1 extra. So really you're chaining up 11. So let's go ahead and do that. I can get my yarn together here and get it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus 1. And now we just fasten off. So leave this tail about the same length as you left the other tail. Like I said, it doesn't have to be crazy long, just long enough that you can handle it. So we're just going to pull through that last little bit of yarn and tighten that up. So here is the loop that we're going to be adding, and it just simply sits like this. We're going to make a slip knot. And now we are going to chain up 8 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in the second chain from the hook, we are going to slip stitch. So we're simply going to slip stitch. You don't have to do your slip stitches crazy tight. You also don't want them very loose, but you know, just somewhere in between. We're just going to move on down. Slip stitching every single chain. There we go. And there's out of frame figures. One more left. Slip stitch. So at the end, I usually like to chain one and then fasten off. And once again, with these, you want to leave your tail about the same size as the rest of your work here. And now we just pull that thread through the loop, tighten that up, and now you have just a straight stalk. And look how cute that is. It just curls naturally. So now let's go ahead and add our little elements to our top of our strawberry. So what I like to do is to actually add the stalk or the loop first. So you are going to need a tapestry needle. Let's go ahead and thread that. You can see the center of the top of our strawberry. So what I like to do with the loop is I try to get into the center first and just pull that thread all the way through. So it's going to look like that. And I'm just going to leave this hanging out on the back. And we're going to thread the other tail onto our tapestry needle. Okay, so as you can see, we went through the center of our leaf top, back through the center as close as I can. I'm just going to pass it through one of the adjacent stitches. I don't know if you can see that, but the center is here. I'm just going to go right next to it. And this is just so we can kind of create a little bit of, you know, that little area there. So that way it has a little area to grip whenever we tie it on the back. So now we don't need the tapestry needle anymore. So we got a lot of little strings going on here. So I got my 2 strings here. This is from the top of our leaf. So now all we're going to do is we're going to just simply put a knot. You know, it's a regular double knot. And make sure it gets fairly tight because we don't want that coming off, especially if you are using this as a little dangly. So I'm going to double loop this one and tighten that up. And if you want, you can add some super glue right here just to really make sure it's not going to come off. I'm pretty confident that this knot isn't going to come off, but I will add an extra knot here just to be on the safe side. And this one I will do a double loop knot here, which I think they call it a surgeon's knot. So just like that. And now we can trim this down so it's not like in our way when we're sewing. Just like that. And you can go ahead and trim this tail as well while you're at it. And when we're attaching this to the top of our strawberry, it's going to get encased at the bottom. So there that is. So a similar thing will happen with this one. And you're just going to pass it through the center of your strawberry. and knot it on the back side. So let's go ahead and join everything together here. I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle. And we're just going to get our strawberry and we're just going to place it. And you can place this however you want. If you want it a little offside here, you can place it like that. Because you know, not all strawberries are the same. They're all very different and very unique. So for this strawberry here, you can see that I did not sew the leaves down. Now, if you want to do that, you are more than welcome to. All I did is I went around the edge of our circle. So if you want to give your strawberry a little cutesy look, you can sew down some of these little leaves so that way it's kind of like popping up in places like that, you know, just to give it a different look. It's really up to you. It's your strawberry. Okay, so seeing as we kind of made the strawberry a little different, it's got a flat top. I'm just going to try to place it right in the middle. And if it's a little off, I don't care. It's going to look cute either way. So let's get in here. I'm going to pull that to the inside. And we're just going to go around the edge here. There's our little strawberry. Oh, it looks funny. There we go. A little flatter than this little dude. It's a little flat strawberry. Okay, so once you get it secured where you like it, we are going to lock this last little string here in place because we don't want that to come out. So we're going to do a little loop. I forget what you call this. There is a technical term, but you just leave a loop just like this, and you pass your needle through the loop. And this is just going to lock it right in place, just like that. And now we're just going to pass our needle back through the body of your strawberry just to hide that string. All right, so that is done. We are done with the strawberry. You're just going to cut that off. Use your scissors to hide that string that we just pulled through. And there it is. Now, this one looks really, really unique. I love the way that it came out because it is like completely flat on the top. If we compare the two, you can see that this one is more rounded because I didn't flatten the top on this one. And oh my god, it looks so cute. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you are just gonna make a cute little strawberry just like this, so all you have to do here is add seeds if you would like, and you can do that any way you want. If you want to embroider them, you can. If you want to add just like little dots of paint, you can do that as well. Or if you want to go around with beads to make your seeds, I mean, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, oh, that would look so cute, but I'm not good at embroidering with beads. So the next video in this series will be in the playlist, and it should be coming up next, and we are going to go ahead and embroider the seeds and the little kawaii face onto our strawberry. So if you want to do that, stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one. Happy crafting, happy crocheting, bye!